So this is Christmas. What have you done? Another year over, and a new one just begun. So this is Christmas. I hope you have fun. The near and the dear ones, the new and the young.
A very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Let's hope it's a good one without any fear. And so this is Christmas, for weak and for strong, the rich and the poor ones. The world is so wrong. And so happy Christmas for black and for white, for yellow and red ones. Let's stop all the fight. A very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Let's hope it's a good one without any fear. So this is Christmas, and what have we done? Another year over, and a new one just begun. And so happy Christmas. We hope you have fun. The near and the dear ones, the old and the young. A very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Let's hope it's a good one without any fear. War is over if you want it. War is over now. Merry Christmas! Merry Christmas!
Feliz Navidad.
That's right. All right, everybody. Welcome to Jubilee Circle. We wanted to welcome you on this happy day after Christmas. Of course, in the Orthodox tradition, the 12 days of Christmas are just getting started. So Christmas will carry on really all the way through Epiphany, which is January 6th. So we're still celebrating Christmas here at Jubilee Circle and around the world, and we are continuing our holiday mini-via called AHSCKNYE, in which we do celebrate the seasons of Advent and Hanukkah, Solstice, Christmas, New Year's, and Epiphany. And our theme for this mini-via has been ordinary miracles, and we're just celebrating the ways that we can encounter miracles in all the mundane and ordinary times of our life. So happy Kwanzaa, everyone. This is the first day. Happy Kwanzaa. This is the first day of the annual celebration that was created back in 1966 by a Black Studies professor named Ron Karenga. He began this celebration as a way to honor his community's African American roots and inspire Black people to see the infinite possibilities that are available to them. So today we observe the principle of umoja, which means unity. Tomorrow will mark the second principle, I can never say this one, kujichagulia, which means self-determination. The third day is Ujamaa, which means cooperative economics, where communities work together to begin businesses and other ventures. The celebration continues with Ujima, which means collective work and responsibility, and that is celebrated by helping others. And then Nia, which is a sense of purpose, followed by Kuumba, which is creativity, and then the Kwanzaa ends on Imani, which means faith. Now, these are all of the ingredients we need to recognize all of these divine disruptions that come into our lives, all the miracles that come into our lives too, that can bring those endless miracles as we're here to recreate this world. And we all need to come together to work collectively. We need to be self-motivated and cooperative and work with purpose and creativity and faith that all of our work will bring about the peace and justice that we hope for. These are the principles that disrupt the ego's way of doing things, where that's always everyone for themselves. That's what the ego believes. So by embracing this spirit of Kwanzaa, we can end this illusion of separation and realize that we truly are each other, and we are all connected on that level of spirit, even if we seem to be split up into many tribes and races and genders and political factions or whatever in this world out here. When we can accept and live into these Kwanzaa principles, we can become those holy transformers in this world to create more peace and more love and justice. And the good news is, the world, I think, is already turning toward these qualities that Kwanzaa celebrates. And it offers us infinite possibilities to see the miracles that are happening and infinite opportunities to say, oh yeah. All right, please rise as you're able. And we will begin the way we begin every celebration here at Jubilee Circle. We remember the four elements, the air and the water and the earth and the fire. And we burn black sage as a reminder to set our intentions, to set our minds and our hearts on love and peace and joy, not just in our own lives, but for everyone in this world. So I invite you, as we orient ourselves in this sacred time and space by calling the four directions, to set your own intention of love and peace this morning. I invite you to turn and face the east. Holy One, awaken us with the light of the east. Bless us with the dawning of each new day. Light our path as we seek to reach out in community to those who may remain in darkness. Help us to be willing to see this world in a new light, drenched in the light of your love, and teach us how to be open channels for those loving rays. Quarter turn to the right, we face the south. Awaken us, Holy One, to the light within each of us that shines as warmly as that southern sun, inviting all around it to its warmth and its beauty. Holy One, help us to shine that brightly for you and for the world. Quarter turn to the right, and we face the west. Help us, Holy One, when the light begins to dim. The darkness in our world is just as natural as the light. Help us to bless even the darkness around us instead of cursing it. Help us to understand that darkness is needed if there is ever to be light, but teach us how to bring our own darkness into your light so we can receive the miracle of a changed mind and heart. Quarter turn to the right, and we face the north. Guide us, Holy One, when we fall into our own pit of darkness. Instead of wallowing deeper into the darkness, remind us to go toward you, toward that holy light. Remind us to go toward our holy community, where we find your light, that true north that can guide us all home. And as we turn back toward the center, you're going to find a few folks. Everybody stayed home. Everybody's doing their family thing today. We understand. But we are all a mixture of light and dark, all a mixture of shade and sun. We all have that dark matter within, that shadow side that seems to plague us. But in this safe and sacred place, Jubilance, I invite you. Confront that shadow, invite it out to play, because when you can bring your shadows into the light of the holy and see that whole world bathed in that holy light, then all you'll know to say is, oh yeah. All right. Let's spread a little sage around the room. And then we're going to sing our opening song. And if you are watching virtually, you can go to JubileeCircle.com, and right there on the front page, you will find a link to the bulletin. And so you can follow along. It will have all the readings and lyrics and all the fun stuff that we're doing today. Keith, the drummer, is trying to get your attention. Never mind. She had something exciting to say. It's all good.
It's all good, everybody.
The first rule of passive-aggressive club is, oh, never mind.
I couldn't remember
Not
what song we
important.
were about to
Oh,
do.
I can
was
see
just
clearly
gonna
now.
ask you.
All right.
Thank you.
You were assuming Keith knows. Right, it's born this way, right? It's all fun and games until somebody puts their eye out. All right. We're going to sing a little Johnny Nash this morning. It's all a bright, sunshiny day out there.
It is a hot one.
It is a bright,
Yeah.
sunshiny, hot, right after Christmas Day.
Hot Christmas Day.
Welcome to South Carolina. 1, 2, 3, 4.
I can see clearly now the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. I think I can make it now. The pain is gone. All of the bad feelings have disappeared. Here is the rainbow I've been praying for. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. Look all around, there's nothing but blue skies. Look straight ahead, there's nothing but blue I can see clearly now the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day.
Big finish now.
It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. Now that I've had my coffee,
All right, yeah. I just want to thank Leslie Gilroy for joining us today.
Sunshine Delusion.
We are CC and the Recalcitrants
now
and
a CC
Sunshine
girl.
Delusions.
All
CC.
All rolled into one. So we have Bruce Clark here on the lead guitar.
Hi.
We're happy about that. And the,
Who?
the other half of Sunshine Delusions. Trisha Fopp over here on guitar and vocals. And another, well, he's a part-time delusion. And Beth joins us.
I think we all
It's
try to
just
help
everybody
each
than
other.
me and you, Trisha. I don't know
Just
what's going on.
polyband.
Just an
Bandry, yeah.
amalgamation.
Right.
Polybandry.
We are
Polybandry.
polybanders.
I suggest that to all our
That's-
local musicians.
Keith Edwards back here, Keith Edwards Sr., and Beth DeHart on the drums. All right, so Merry Christmas, everybody, and me.
Oh, and the greatest
Candace.
reverend in the universe.
Candace.
Candace.
All right. Never had an intro like that
Coffee has
before.
kicked in.
Coffee has kicked in. That's right. We are well caffeinated here at Jubilee.
Can I say, I've been telling Candace, you know how like in Johnny Carson days and such, they would have like late night talk show. There would be the host, and then they would have like
Ed
a
McMahon.
sidekick.
Yeah.
I've been telling Candace she needs a sidekick to do color commentary.
Hey, we have Leslie. We
Sidekick.
got one. All right.
Sidekick.
Yes.
Now
And
I'm
Bob back there.
in.
I got two sidekicks.
He's
I
the
got.
great joke guy.
I have like a cadre of hecklers. It's great.
Entertainment Center, right?
Hey, let's light the Advent candle. What do you say?
Yeah.
All right, Bob.
So all 4 weeks leading up to Christmas, we have been celebrating Advent, and yes, of course, yesterday was Christmas Day, and so we will light all of our candles to represent peace, joy, hope, and love, and we will light our white Christ candle today as well. And here is a reading from A Course in Miracles. Let us go out and meet the newborn world, knowing that Christ has been reborn in it. and that the holiness of this rebirth will last forever. We had lost our way, but God has found it for us. Let us go and bid God welcome, who returns to us to celebrate salvation and the end of all we thought we made. The morning star of this new day looks on a different world where God is welcomed and God's children are with God. We who would complete God offer thanks to God, and he gives thanks to us. The child is still, and in the quiet God has given him enters his home and is at peace at last. Oh, yeah. All right, a little bit about Jubilee Circle. Welcome again. It's after Christmas. We're all a little giddy, so you don't know what you're going to get this morning, but hey, that's Jubilee.
Hope you had a good day.
Right. We are an inclusive, progressive, interfaith community right here in Columbia, South Carolina, broadcasting around the world thanks to the amazing Jim Mounts, who is there behind our camera. One day we'll turn a camera on him and just, you'll get a look at him, but he loves it back there, Mr. Faceless. Anyway, back to us, Jubilee Circle. We teach the timeless common wisdom of love and unity found in all mainstream religions and metaphysical philosophies, mysticism, and all the inspired secular and religious writers and teachers throughout the ages. We like to use popular music and weekly celebrations, educational and artistic events, and other community-building activities because we're trying to create a space here for everyone to experience transformation so then they can go out and transform the world. We believe that we are all here to expand our souls, to find that deeper meaning in life, to renew our commitment to love and peace and justice, and learn how to love wastefully in the world and undergo such a profound transformation from the inside out that we live into our higher divine self more and more. We also recognize we're part of God's good creation. We are formed in stardust and love and joy, and we humans, we're a forgetful lot. We bang our heads on the way out of the womb, and we think we're lost in this world of separation and paradox where we see others as over there and us over here, and we judge everything as either beautiful or ugly, good or bad, generous or stingy, loving or recalcitrant, obstreperous.
I need an antidote for that.
But let us remember our function here. It's not to be obstreperous jubilants. It is to continually return to the home that we've never left while we embody and become that open channel for love in the world. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So next Sunday, it will be the new year. It will be 2022 next Sunday, so January 2nd.
Yes.
We're going to wrap up our mini via of AHSCKNYE, and we will use music from Jason Mraz as we explore how to live the next year as one of an epiphany every day. So I'm calling it a year of epiphany living. So join me to figure out what that means. On Wednesdays, Lee McEachern is leading our informal discussion group on A Course in Miracles, and we just sit around and read some chapters and talk about things. And if you're a course student for a while, or if you're just curious about learning more about the course, it's a great place to come and do that. And we meet 7:30 on Wednesday nights. Friday, January 7th, we'll have our coffee house and open mic, and John and Carrie Scollin are our featured performers, and they will start at 7. Open mic starts at 8, so bring all of your talents to our microphone. And then Monday, January 10th at 6 o'clock, I'll be starting a Meditation Monday. It's a 6-week workshop to begin with. We're going to talk about all these different types of meditation styles and ways that you can meditate. We'll use Sharon Salzberg's Real Happiness as a guide. You don't need to have the book. But that's the guide that I'll be using to teach us all sorts of different types of meditation, from loving kindness to walking meditation, following your breath. There's all sorts of ways. And perhaps if you're interested in meditation, you can find the one that really works for you, because not everybody can just sit there and om or whatever. So you find the style that works for you, and then meditation becomes a joy. We'll also start, hopefully next Sunday maybe, Soundy School. Yeah, so next door, you can come about 10:30 on Sunday morning, and there will be some healing bowls and chanting and sound just to get ourselves in the mood from like 10:30 to 10:45. Next door, we'll have Soundy School, little sound healing. It's part of meditation.
Yeah.
It is.
Even there.
It's another way to meditate. So we're going to give you all sorts of ways to meditate this year, and our yoga instructor, Malika Daniels, will come back with her yoga classes I know she's doing one Monday night at like 7, which is like why 6. So the meditation is at 6. Come for the meditation, stay for the yoga. So join us for all of that. Am I missing anything? Did I miss anything to say? All right. Hear these wise and holy words. From the Hebrew Scriptures, Exodus 32, 7 through 14. The Lord said to Moses, "Go down at once. Your people, whom you brought out of the land of Egypt, have acted perversely. They have been quick to turn aside from the way that I commanded them. They have cast for themselves an image of a calf and have worshipped it and sacrificed to it and said, 'These are your gods, O Israel, who brought you up out of the land of Egypt.' The Lord said to Moses, 'I have seen this people, how stiff-necked they are. Now let me alone, so my wrath may burn hot against them, and I may consume them, and of you I will make a great nation.' But Moses implored the Lord his God and said, 'O Lord, why does your wrath burn hot against your people, whom you brought out of the land of Egypt with great power and with a mighty hand? Turn from your fierce wrath, change your mind, and do not bring disaster on your people.' And the Lord changed its mind about the disaster that she had planned to bring on his people." From the Jesus story, Luke 15, 1 through 10. Now all the tax collectors and sinners were coming near to listen to him, and the Pharisees and the scribes were grumbling and saying, "This fellow welcomes sinners and eats with them." So Jesus told them this parable. "Which one of you, having 100 sheep and losing one of them, does not leave the 99 in the wilderness and go after the one that is lost until he finds it? When he has found it, he lays it on his shoulders and rejoices. And when he comes home, he calls together his friends and neighbors, saying, 'Rejoice with me, I have found my sheep that was lost.' Just so, I tell you, there will be more joy in heaven for one sinner who repents than over 99 righteous people who need no repentance." And from A Course in Miracles, Lesson 132. "What keeps the world in chains but your beliefs? And what can save the world except yourself?" With a capital S. Belief is powerful indeed. The thoughts you hold are mighty, and illusions are as strong in their effects as is the truth. A madman thinks the world he sees is real and does not doubt it. Nor can he be swayed by questioning his thoughts' effects. It is but when their source is raised to question that the hope of freedom comes to him at last. Yet is salvation easily achieved, for anyone is free to change their mind, and all their thoughts change with it." These are wise and holy words. Thanks be to the holy. All creation is holy word. All creation speaks volumes of the holy. Hallelujah. Let's stand and sing. Invite you to greet one another. Wherever you are. Here we go.
Don't forget the individuals.
I don't think you have this one, Les.
On TV land.
I don't think you have this one. Sorry, we didn't.
Okay.
Okay.
Does this change your mind?
No. It's ordinary day.
Oh, okay.
All right, here we go. 2, 3, 4.
I know.
Just jump in. There you go. Standing on a planet, breathing in the atmosphere. Waves vibrating in the air are beating on my ears. Invisible forces are holding me down. I am spinning faster than the speed of sound. I'm being bombarded by electromagnetic beams, flying through my body, shining red and blue and green. 100 million signals are racing through my brain. I guess it must be just another ordinary day. An ordinary day. But Mad Hatter's having tea. Oompa Loompas making sweets. This really won't be reality. Just another ordinary day. All right. Our song this morning comes from the Gainesville, Florida-based band called Sister Hazel, who is actually
I
named
love that song.
in honor of a nun named Sister Hazel. So,
Wow.
yeah,
I did not know this.
yeah. This is a song called Change Your Mind. It comes from their 2000 release, Fortress. 2, 3, 4. I think there might be another way to just feel better about today. Oh no, you never wanna have to turn and go away. Might feel better if you stay. Yeah, yeah, I bet you haven't heard a word I've said. Yeah, yeah, if you've had enough of all you're trying, just give up the state of mind you're in. If you wanna be somebody else, if you're tired of fighting battles within yourself, if you wanna be somebody else, just change your mind. Change your mind. Back in the late 70s, researchers at Stanford University conducted an experiment. They invited a group of students that both supported and opposed capital punishment, and they divided them up into pro and con groups. They had all the students read 2 studies. One provided data showing that the death penalty was a deterrent to crime, and another that questioned those statistics. So what do you think happened? Nobody changed their mind, basically. Students who supported capital punishment said the pro-deterrence data was more credible than the contradictory report. Those who opposed the death penalty went the other way, giving more credence to that anti-deterrence report. And the catch was, of course, both of those reports were not true. They were both fake. So what happened at the end was, as Bob said, nobody changed their mind, but those who supported the death penalty going into the experience were stronger in their support, and those who opposed it were equally fervent in their opinion that it should be abolished. So it hardened their opinions. And this is called, in research lingo, confirmation bias. And it's what makes it so hard for people to change their minds about what they believe. Confirmation bias is nothing new. Now, this study was done back in 1979, long before Facebook or Twitter or fake news or Trump or the onset of tribalism that has divided our country into competing factions. The science confirms it. We humans are hard-headed. We are slow to change. We are recalcitrant,
Recalcitrant.
obstreperous.
And that too.
Yes. Even in the face of overwhelming evidence that we are wrong. We all suffer in some form and various degrees to what other researchers have called my side bias, which means we're really good at seeing the flaws in the arguments of others, but we are blind to like the Swiss cheese size holes in ours. And these are usually pointed out to us by those we consider to be on the other side, and most likely during some political argument on Facebook. Neither side welcomes anybody pointing out where they might be wrong. So imagine for a moment if you are God. My cat already knows he is, but imagine for a moment you are God and some pesky gnat of a human being, something you created and gave life to, had the temerity to point out the flaw in your argument and call you wrong to your face. What would you do? I mean, after all, you're God. You're the creator of the entire universe. Some pissant human comes along and points out where you got it all wrong. Yeah. Smiting. Yeah, smiting happens.
Smiting.
But that's not what happens in today's reading from the Hebrew Scriptures. It's not like God didn't have a reason to be really angry to the point of wiping out the whole human race, save his favorite, Moses, of course. These were his chosen people. These are the Israelites. He delivered them from slavery in Egypt, and there they are, falling down before a golden calf, worshiping it like it was the God that got their butts out of slavery. Like any overwrought parent, God's probably thinking, where did I go wrong? I gave them everything. I gave them freedom. And this is how they repay me. And this is where Moses decides to speak up and tell God how wrong she is about all of this. Turn from your fierce wrath, Moses says to God. Change your mind. Do not bring disaster on your people. Remember your promise to Abraham and Isaac and Israel, he says, a promise to prosper them and not to destroy them. And the scripture says, and the Lord changed his mind. No argument, no hesitation, no sputtering of all the good reasons why these awful people deserve a terrible fate. No confirmation bias, just a quick, oh, okay, from God. Now remember that word, repent. It says God repents. That word repent, in Greek, it means metanoia. It just means change your direction, turn around, change your mind. So what was it that helped God overcome its confirmation bias so quickly? Well, whatever it was, it's what God models for us in this episode, so we can dig deeper and learn what we need to overcome the ego's love of its own voice and instead tune into that higher divine self that is always calling us to change our mind, to be willing. It's easier said than done, of course. A Course in Miracles says, belief is powerful indeed. The thoughts you hold are mighty, and illusions are as strong in their effects as is the truth. A madman thinks the world he sees is real, and he does not doubt it. Nor can he be swayed by questioning his thoughts' effects. And this is confirmation bias at work. We double down on our beliefs, especially when they get challenged. The worst thing that can happen to the ego is to be proven wrong. There are very real consequences in this world sometimes, though, for people who actually have the courage to change their mind. For instance, back when I was teaching a religion course at Midlands Tech, I had a student who was a very proud and vocal Christian nationalist. He was a white supremacist. He was an older man who I learned later was actually quite famous in white power circles. During one particular class discussion, though, he spoke up, which always made me nervous. I don't know what he's going to say. But what he said on this afternoon was really amazing. This was the first time that he openly came out as a white supremacist in class, which drew some gasps and some angry glares, but he told a story about his time in the Ku Klux Klan. He believed what the Klan taught. He believed that black people had no soul, which meant they were not really human at all. And this is a central tenet within Klan ideology. But my student said, I wanted to see it for myself. He decided to do his own research, see if that was true. So one Sunday, he took himself down to a black church. And during that service, he told the class, he realized that everything he had been taught by the KKK about black people was wrong. He said what he experienced in that service convinced him that not only did black people have souls, not only were they human, they had lives that included family and friends and challenges and struggles and joys and triumphs. They were just like him. By the end of the service, my former student knew that these were real, soul-bearing, beloved human beings. The class was just enraptured by this man's story about how he changed his mind. And then he totally blew it by saying, now Jews, they're a different story.
Oops. Oops.
Yeah. Ah, well, baby steps, I guess, right? But it would have been easy for him to give in to his confirmation bias about black people, but he didn't. He walked out of that church a repentant man, at least as far as black people are concerned. It's a great story, but you know what? It cost him everything. That change of heart meant he could no longer be a member of the Ku Klux Klan. When others in his tribe found out about his beliefs, he was rejected. He was rejected by his friends and Klan leaders. Even though his revelation was costly, though, he said he didn't regret it, and talked warmly about all of the black friends that he had made over the years. So what was the key to my students' transformed mind? Well, the Course tells us it is, but when their source is raised to question, that the hope of freedom comes at last. My student had the courage to question the source of his knowledge. In his world, the beliefs of the KKK were sacrosanct. Their ideology was the only source of knowledge he had. It's the only one he needed in that moment. According to the leaders, it wasn't to be questioned. But something within him wanted to confirm this belief. He wanted to see if it was true. He went to that church expecting to walk away unchanged. But what he found in that church was the higher source of knowledge. He found love in that church. And in that moment, my student overcame his ego, and he touched, even if it was just for this group of people, he touched his higher divine self. And he accepted that as the source of what he was going to believe to be true. And I submit that's what happened between Moses and God. It's one of these tools we need to overcome our ego. In that conversation between God and Moses, I think God was playing with Moses just a little bit. He was playing the role of the ego, hoping that Moses might make a connection to that higher source in his response. So when Moses gets it, when he hears the ego trying to speak in God's voice, he sees through the deception, and he speaks holy words to the holy herself. This is one of the reasons why I think God seems repentant in this passage. I think God understood what she needed Moses to demonstrate was that he knew which source to listen to. Do you listen to the ego's voice of fear, or do you listen to the voice of love and compassion? When confronted with a chance to confirm his own bias against a group of people that had done nothing but bitch and moan since they left Egypt, Moses erred on the side of love over fear. He chose to see the people who were currently all trapped and wrapped up in their ego. He chose to see them as the divine beings that they were, having a very human experience. Just like my student walked out of that black church that Sunday, Moses, too, was given new eyes. He got the miracle of a new perspective. Both my student and Moses only received that miracle because they were both willing to see the world differently. Like my student, this new perspective for Moses could eventually cost him everything. He didn't get to the promised land, but I think he knew in that moment what a course would teach us in this modern time. Change but your mind on what you want to see, and the world must change accordingly. Breathe deeply. 2, 3, 4. Have you ever danced in the rain or thanked the sun just for shining on the sea? Oh no, take it all in the world to show, yeah. You look much better when you glow. Yeah, I'll bet you haven't heard a word I've said. Yeah, you've had enough of all your trying. Just give up the state of mind you're in. If you wanna be somebody else, if you're tired of fighting battles, maybe with yourself. If you wanna be somebody else, just change your mind. Change your mind. A few years ago, on an episode of comedian Samantha Bee's political TV show, Full Frontal, she interviewed a man who was helping people like my former student leave hate groups like the KKK. Christian Piccolini says he was a former Nazi skinhead before he changed his mind, and he started an organization called Life After Hate. In the interview, B asked Piccolini how we can destroy what she called white polo supremacist idiots. The best way to destroy hate, he told her, is with love. That was not the answer that B was expecting, so Piccolini explained that those who join white supremacist groups most likely suffer from some sort of trauma or abuse in their lives that led them to search for a group that would accept them. And so to get them out of these groups, Piccolini says his group will offer them support. It will help them find job training and mental health therapy or education. And so far, he says they have helped hundreds of people leave hate groups. He told B, I would imagine in the history of the world, nobody has changed their opinion because they got punched in the face. Because now they're a victim. So, he says, hug a Nazi.
Wow.
What Piccolini recommends is what Jesus advocates for in today's gospel reading, oddly enough. Searching for the lost and never giving up until you find them. He tells the parable of a shepherd who understood that our relationships with others in this world are so important that he's willing to leave 99 of his sheep completely unprotected to predators to go in search of the one who remains lost. And that's an invitation to us, Jubilants, to pay attention to the relationships in our lives and be open to changing our mind whenever one of those relationships bumps up against some of our ego's most cherished sacred cows and beliefs. In an article in Cracked magazine, a former conservative, a good literature magazine, Cracked, a former conservative who goes by the name Christine H., writes that all the facts and figures liberals gave her about poor people never changed her opinion that poor people were lazy and that they could get out of their situation if they just went out and found a job. Then she met some poor people. Before, it was like all those people in the experiment. They saw information that hardened their beliefs. But then she met some poor people. Through the relationship, her mind changed. And this, Jubilance, is ultimately what changes God's mind in that argument with Moses. Moses reminds God of his relationship with humans. You promised not to destroy them. Moses reminds God of her unity with the creatures that she created. So I invite you, Jubilants, as this new year approaches, if you want to have your mind changed so you can experience the miracle of seeing this world in a new light, start by taking an interest in everyone who crosses your path. Learn all you can about them. Learn about their joys and their struggles, their victories, their defeats. Hear them out about their politics. Hear them out about religion and the state of the world. It doesn't mean you have to agree, but it does mean that you have to change your mind about one thing. You have to stop believing that you are separate from any of them. You have to stop believing that you are somehow fundamentally different, better or worse, than they are. That was the belief that changed that's the belief that changed in my former student. He saw that black people were the same as he was. That belief in separation was the apparent belief of God that Moses pointed out that was wrong as well. In God's wrath, she saw her creation somehow as other, less than, worthy of death. All it took to change God's mind was to remind him of the unity that the Creator shared with those amazing, if frustrating and recalcitrant and obstreperous creatures. And that's all it needs for us too. That's all it takes. In this parable, Jesus says, if one lost person is found, all of heaven rejoices. If one person changes their mind from fear to love, even if that entity is called God, the universe throws a party. So the only real question for us then, as we approach a new year, are we going to join that party? Will we rejoice when people change their minds? Remember, my former student had a change of heart around black people, but he still hates Jews. My ego tells me that's a reason to still reject him. He hasn't changed enough for me. But in heaven, in that higher consciousness, that one change of mind, party breaks out. Baby steps. We make that change, A Course reminds us, by changing the source of our thoughts away from the fearful ego to the open compassion of that divine higher self. And when we do that, we will free ourselves from past beliefs, and better yet, we will free ourselves from being drawn back into that egoic thinking in the future. This is the true path of liberation. But the question remains, are you willing? Are you willing to have everything you believe in rocked to its core by being open to creating relationships with everyone who passes you by, even those you'd rather not? Jubilants, in this coming year, will you be willing to celebrate our unity with everyone here on earth, even as it is already being celebrated in heaven? So whenever you are ready, whenever you're ready to be willing, here's some advice. Hug a Nazi. 2, 3, 4. Trying, just give up the state of mind you're in. If you wanna be somebody else, if you're tired of fighting battles within yourself, if you wanna be somebody else, just change your mind. Change your mind. Oh yeah.
Change is good.
Right. I invite you, while I'm trying to situate my guitar, I invite you during this prayer time. Think about the areas that, worst thing in the world could be that you change your mind. If I change my mind, then all the evil people in the world get a free pass. If I change my mind, I might have to like people. I don't know if I'm going to like them. If I change my mind, I might have to do some things. I don't know. I don't know if I want to do that. You're free to do whatever you want. But if you want spiritual growth, if you want liberation in this new year, change your mind. If you're tired of seeing an evil world outside, change your mind about the world. If all you're seeing is evil, you're looking in the wrong spot. Because there's lots of good out there. Lots of good people. Lots of beautiful things happening. And you also might want to look inside and see what of your own quote-unquote evil you're holding on to. Stop beating yourself up, maybe. Then the world outside becomes beautiful. Because what the world is like inside is what is reflected outside. And the only world you really have the power to make any sort of true change in is that world that you carry around inside of you. And once that world changes, once that world becomes beautiful, once that world becomes loving and open and kind and generous, you see more open and loving and kind and generous people walking around. It's almost like a miracle. Because jubilance it is. That's how you get a miracle. You're willing. You're willing to see it. You're willing to become it. You're willing to walk in the world as the miracle. That's my challenge for you in this new year, jubilance. Next week, we're going to be talking more about that. We're going to be talking more and more in the coming year about how you can walk that path, to be willing, to be aware, to recognize the growth you've already made and embody it in the world. That's how we're going to be living next year here at Jubilee Circle. So I invite you in this time of meditation and prayer. What are your sacred cows? What golden calf are you bowing down to right now that is not the true God, that is not the true love that we were created out of? Jubilance, the holy, has brought us out of bondage. The only thing we need to do is be grateful for it. I invite you in this moment. Slay your sacred cows. It's as good a time as any as we approach the new year.
Same song?
Duh.
Oh, it's a... Really?
That's good.
I think it's in G minor.
It is. It is.
Two. 1, 2, 3.
Instead of cursing the darkness, light a candle where we're going. There's something ahead we're looking for. When the line of time is on us, we will see our moment come, and the living soul inside will carry on. It's a chance
darkness, light a candle for where we're going. There's something ahead we're looking for. When the line of time is on us, we will see our moment come, and the living soul inside will carry on. Light a candle in the darkness, so others might see ahead. Light a candle in the darkness when you go.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So this is the time that I remind you that near the end of the year, the more you give, the more tax breaks you get. So go to JubileeCircle.com and you will find a link. You can give through PayPal, you can give through Venmo, you can give by writing a check to Post Office Box 4611, Columbia, South Carolina 29204, or anyone in the building may give to this basket. And we have some really good and exciting stuff that we're going to try to get done in the new year. We've got the meditation workshop coming up. We're going to start Soundy School. We've got other ideas and plans of ways to start using our building again and getting people to come back in. And I know Omicron and all of that, la, 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 la. And I understand just because you're tired of the pandemic, it's not over, I understand. But we are coming to this point where it's going to be an endemic. It's not going away. So we're figuring out ways to live with it. We're figuring out ways to do the things that we need to do to come together as a community. And your support is what helps us do that. It's what helps us develop some new programs and new ways of doing things and helping you transform from the inside out so you can transform the world. And that is our gig here at Jubilee Circle, to help your transformation so the world transforms through you and by you. All right. So give as you are able, and we appreciate everyone who has given and will give in the future. There's usually a song playing by now. Thank you. All right. And so I remind you, we are going to do our Zoom call afterwards just one more time, because apparently that has sort of fallen by the wayside for folks. So we'll do one more Zoom call for this year. Next year we won't be doing the Zoom calls, but we'll start our discussion groups back up here. After the sermon, we'll do discussions again. So we're going to try to get back to whatever we call normal here at Jubilee Circle. So we hope that you'll join us in the building. Join us online still if you need to, and that will be great. And so if you're joining us for the Zoom, we'll see you in a few minutes. If you are not, have a lovely and beautiful week, and we will see you next time. And take with you the words of Meister Eckhart. If the only prayer you ever say in your entire life is thank you, that will be enough. And so together we say, thank you, and we say, oh yeah. We all walk together, hand in hand, side by side. We all walk together, hearts and arms open wide. Make our way by walking, in love we will abide. Path is always open, and your Go in peace, everybody. Have a lovely week. Happy New Year.